everybody, it's Sierra, the Artsy Badger, and welcome to my Inktober sketchbook tour. So I will have all the materials that I used over the course of Inktober listed below, but I just wanted to give you guys a little overview of what I used this year. I used this Midori sketchbook in the size A4. I used a black ballpoint pen for sketching. This was sort of my way of paying homage to what Inktober was founded upon, the sort of practicing your inking skills. I just wanted to try and not use pencil sketching for the idea process, mostly to make it go faster. Because I know when given the opportunity to erase, I erase too much, and given that I had to draw a full piece every day, I didn't want to spend that much time in the sketching process. For the sketching process, I used this little pencil. This is what's left of it anyway. So that you guys have a bit of a reference point, this is what they look like before they're sharpened. I have a ton of these. They're just the Prismacolor Col-Erase in Lavender. That's my favorite color to sketch in. A lot of people use them in blue or red. My eraser that has a bit of a pink hue to it now from all the lavender sketching. My trusty pencil sharpener. For inking, I ended up only using my Microns. In the first Inktober video, you see me showing the Zebra brush pen, but I ended up not using that one because it's been very leaky ever since my Alaska trip. If you guys remember, it exploded on me in the plane, and so it's been kind of unpredictable ever since then. And I didn't want to risk ruining my Inktober pieces. And for coloring, I used these 6 markers. Finally, the last inking tool, I guess, that I used was this Uni-Ball Signo white gel pen. So this is it. This is everything that I used for Inktober this year. Now let's get into the sketchbook tour. So the cover that I made actually held up pretty well. It's definitely got a little bit of damage on this side, but the side that really took the most damage was the back. I don't know if you can see that very well, but it's kind of just covered in like eraser bits. I could probably wipe it off a little bit, but it's kind of all speckled. So you guys have all seen this already. This is my front page with all the prompt words, or prompt familiars rather, and the color swatches for the markers that I used. And you guys will all remember this one. This was Inktober Day 1, Cat. As we know, I redid it. I do end up liking the face of this one more. I think his smile is like more genuine and happy, but I really like the way the cat turned out this way. He's kind of leaning over his shoulder more naturally, I think, and I like the color purple better. Day 2 was Rabbit. And I just drew this cute little purple witch with her big bunny. Day 3 was Alpaca. I do kind of wish that I had gone with this idea. I kind of revisit it later. I kind of like the idea of a girl hiking with her alpaca and like carrying her broom. I just think that it had a few more interesting elements than what I went with, but this is what I went with. Kind of an old lady sitting with her alpaca brewing up a potion. Day 4 was Koala. I was struggling to decide whether I wanted to do a boy or a girl. I ended up kind of like combining these two poses, as you see right here. I like the way this one turned out, but the koala looks a little bit more like a gremlin than a koala. I'm not sure what happened there. Raven, day 5. This one was hard because I really like ravens and I kind of wanted to do them justice. I'm not sure that I did in the end, but I drew this older wizard with his 3 ravens, and I think he turned out okay. Day 6, frog. You guys saw this one? Yeah. I think this is still one of my favorites. I like all the ones that have like little creatures all over it. I think it just has more to look at and got me more creative in like how to position the creature on the witch or wizard. I also like her hat a lot. I didn't really get that creative with hats beyond this one, but I should have tried harder. Day 7, horse. This one was a hard one. I used to really like drawing horses, but I don't do it very much anymore. And getting kind of the proportions right and stylizing it in a way that fit with the rest of the pieces was kind of hard, but I think it turned out okay. I kind of wish I hadn't put brown on his face like that. I think the muzzle was good, but I think kind of going up to the eyes was too much. But you live and you learn. Can't like all of them. Okay, day 8, red panda. All of my sketches are girls, but I end up actually drawing a guy. I really liked the bike idea, so I end up using that later also. And I actually really like the way this sketch turned out. I kind of wish I did that instead of what I ended up going with, which was this. But I still think he's cute. The guy looks super like Korean to me. I don't know if that's just me. And I like the way that the potions turned out in this one. They like look kind of translucent, except for the one that he's holding, not so much, but yeah, I think it's, you know, red pandas are cute. Day 9, otter. This is definitely one of my favorites. It was fun kind of playing with floating, and otters are always so like slinky and position themselves in silly ways, so it was kind of fun to play with that, and looking at the reference images was really inspiring for this piece. All right, day 10, skunk. So this is where I decided to use that bike idea that I had previously, and I also really like this one. I think she's really cute, and the skunk, he doesn't like pop out that much, but I kind of like it. I like that he's kind of subtly amongst the flowers in her basket. And I just think this one has a lot of like little details that make you keep wanting to look at it. And then this is where I kind of reused that hiking with your familiar idea that I wanted to do for the alpaca, but I did it from a different perspective than the original one. With the bear, I really like this sketch a lot, and I think this would have been cuter, but he wouldn't have fit on the page that well. So this is what I came up with. It is a little lacking in contrast, but I think given the monochromaticness of it, it still works pretty well. Like, I added some yellow into the bear to kind of make him stand out from the guy's skin tone. I also later start adding pink to the darker skin tones. It gives them a little more life, but I hadn't started doing that at this point. Day 12, tiger. So I also really loved this idea of like a kid laying on top of his tiger. I kind of do something similar to that later, but yeah, I also really liked this one. I mean, the tiger looks really scary, and I think that's why I didn't go with this one, because I wasn't sure how I would pull that off, like sort of the smiling face of a tiger. So instead I went with them just kind of sitting together, studying this glowing orb. I don't know. I just had to make something in it magical. Day 13, antelope. You guys remember this one, I'm sure. If not, I'll have all of my Inktober's linked down below. I really like this pose a lot. I really kind of wish I went with that, but it was a little cutesy, and when I drew this one with the style of antelope that I went with, the sable antelope, he was just so mysterious looking that I felt like I needed to reflect that in the witch that he was with. But I really liked that other sort of like sweet pose, so I do use it later. That's kind of the theme of this whole thing, is that when I created a pose in one of my sketches but it didn't make it to the final sketch, I will often reuse it later. Day 14, mouse. This was another favorite one of mine, same with the frog. It's actually very similar to the frog now that I'm looking at it. It's just so fun having so many little animals all around, and like he's handing her a little mushroom, and this one's like falling off of her little like sprig of whatever flower that is, or wheat or plant off of her hat. And then these two are like sleeping in a little nest. I don't know, I just like the way this one turned out. Day 15. This one was really hard because I love dogs and it was so hard to pick a breed of dog to go with. But then I was thinking about like, what's my favorite breed of dog? And I really like Bernese Mountain Dogs. I've always loved how big they are and how fluffy they are, and I love that color pattern, the sort of like black, brown, and white. So I decided to go with that. And the cute thing about Bernese Mountain Dogs is that they're working dogs, and they like to pull carts, not usually with a person in it, but usually with like hay or something that helps with the farm. But instead I put his little old man wizard in his cart, and everyone keeps asking me why he's so mad, and it's not that he's like mad at his familiar, he's just a grumpy old man. Give him a break. All right, day 16, moth. This prompt was right in the height of the lamp moth meme thing, and so I had to draw a little lamp. But then I got more serious, and I kind of liked the idea of having like a cape that the moths were like coming out of, but again, I wasn't sure I'd be able to communicate that. So instead, I did this witchy lady, and I really like the way her cape turned out. It definitely reads a little more like monarch butterfly than moth, but the moths around her are those like death moths from Silence of the Lambs. They've got the little skulls in them, so hopefully it registers as moth, even though the outfit is very butterfly-y. All right. How many times can I say all right? Day 17, leopard. Again, trying to do the like laying on top. I really like the way this sketch looked, but I ended up going with this one instead, the sort of like sitting, hanging out. And this isn't necessarily supposed to be like a ghost per se, it's just supposed to be something that the little boy is generating. Again, sometimes I struggled in making things magical and making it obvious that it's like a witch or a wizard with their familiar. That was definitely the hardest part of this Inktober. And day 18, this was when I did my witch Sona. Another 2-page one. Oh, the page is folding over. I like this one better now, looking back on it, than I do this one. I definitely like the color scheme, but the tracing just did not go over that well, and the face looks kind of weird, and the dress is kind of weird. But I like the way this dragon spirit turned out better than the first one. In the end, I just couldn't not do Hufflepuff colors because that was what I really wanted in the first place. So I'm glad that I redid it, but I do think that this one is my favorite of the two. Day 19, owl. This one was another very successful sketch session, I think. Like I like all of the results in here. I really like the way this girl's face turned out, and I like the pose with this girl and like the flight movement. But I ended up going with this girl, and I still really like it. This is probably my favorite coloring in of a familiar. It looks the most like a barn owl would look like. because I had all the colors to do it. I also struggled with like the colors of her outfit. I couldn't decide if I wanted to bring purple into it, but I was afraid that purple like would stand out too much, so I kind of made her blend in with the owl. I don't know. I don't know if that was a good choice or not, but that's what I did. Ermine, day 20. This was a hard one. I kind of wish I had gone with this, but I hadn't drawn a boy in a while, so I felt like I had to draw a boy. So I ended up going with this. It's definitely towards the bottom as far as like how much I like it, but it's cute. You guys also saw that one, so I won't talk about it too much. Day 21, Panda. I finally used that idea that I really wanted to do with the leopard and tiger, and I think this one's really cute. My partner, he was a little confused about like proportion. I don't know if it comes across well that she's like a little girl, but she's supposed to be a little girl, not a full-grown adult. I realize pandas aren't that large compared to adults. Day 22, Lemur. This one was super fun because it's a lot more of a dynamic pose, and I hadn't really done that so far. Besides maybe the horse, I guess, might be considered a dynamic pose, or maybe the biking one. Anyway, that doesn't matter. But yeah, did sort of like a running pose. Really like the way this one turned out. And this isn't necessarily implying that they're like dark magic wizards, but I just think it's kind of funny. Like they're hurrying home to like test out this new dark magic supplies that they got. I'd imagine that, you know, as a young adult wizard, you might experiment with dark magic, right? And if you guys aren't super familiar with lemurs, they do actually run like this, or at least these kind do. These are the Safaka lemurs in Madagascar, like Zaboomafoo. Do you remember Zaboomafoo? And he'd like come running through. Anyway, yeah, they run all silly and sideways like that. Day 23, goat. Another one that I really struggled with just because I really love goats a lot. I kind of visited the hiking idea again in this one, and I do really like the way this sketch turned out, but I felt like she was kind of too hidden and I wouldn't have enough space for both of them. So I ended up going with this sort of like farmer girl and the way she gets her apples out of her apple trees through magic, and he's all like, yay, give me the apple. I don't know. I think it's cute. I really like the goat. He's so adorable. Day 24, platypus. Another difficult one. I really like this sketch, and I kind of wish I'd gone with that because the platypus looks so derpy and cute. But I figured I should take advantage of having another sort of aquatic animal, and so I did another underwater scene. This pose was so difficult. It still doesn't like look perfect, but I feel like it looks good enough that if you don't stare at it for too long, it's fine. And the bubble, I do wish that I had blue for the bubble instead of purple, but I think it comes across as a bubble. Day 25, hedgehog. This one was another hard one because the hedgehog is so small, and as far as I know, hedgehogs don't live in like multiples. I don't think they do, but maybe they do. Let me know if you know. But since I think that they don't, I didn't want to do like a bunch of little ones like I have done with smaller familiars in the past, so I put him in this little carrying case that's shaped like a mushroom. I think it turned out pretty cute. Day 26, lion. I really like the way this one turned out. These two sketches are really nice in my opinion. I really like the face on the lion in this one. And I really like the way this pose turned out. I feel like it just looks so loving and cute. Now that I'm looking at this, I definitely should have put more shading on the lion, but oh well. Day 27, raccoon. You guys saw this one. I like some of the sketches in here, but I pretty much went for that exactly, except for minus the witch hat. Not much to say about it since there's a whole video. Day 28, Magpie. 100% my least favorite. I like the way the magpies turned out a lot. They're pretty. I like the gradient in their wings and their tail, but the witch, I don't know. I wanted to have like a kind of cape look, and like she lives in a forest where it rains a lot. I don't know, but yeah, not my best. In fact, it is my worst. Day 29, Deer. I couldn't decide if I wanted to do like an old man wise with his like stag, or if I wanted to go for another dynamic pose like the lemur, and so I ended up going for the dynamic pose, and I'm really glad that I did. I do realize that the deer has like eyelashes, which might make it look like a girl, but then it has antlers, which is a boy thing, and so just ignore the eyelashes. Deers have eyelashes, okay? Boy or girl. Day 30, Squirrel. Another multiple little animal drawing. This one's not up there with like the frog and the mice, but it's okay. I really liked the idea of having them like peeking out of jack-o'-lanterns, but I don't know. I just couldn't figure out how to fit it on the page where it would like render well enough. Anyway, so this is what I came up with. I like the way his jacket turned out, and I think it's cute that like little squirrel is peeking under his hat like, what are you doing? Why are you sleeping? Wake up. And then the last day, day 31, and you guys just saw me do this one on Wednesday, and if you haven't seen it, I'll link it down below. But I have a whole video up on this one. And I'm really glad that I ended with this one because I like it a lot. And I think it looks good. And then the only thing left in here is my bleed proofing page. As you can see, it got a lot of use. It's kind of funny, you can like see the like shoes and poses of a lot of them because it bled so much. But yeah, that's it. Almost the whole book. There's really only a little bit left. Obviously, the pages that you draw on expand and become bigger, so it's not really this big of a difference, but I'd say that's pretty good for 31 days of drawing. I almost filled up this sketchbook. And that's it. That's my Inktober 2018 sketchbook tour. I hope you guys enjoyed being able to see everything that I created this month. I know this is a longer video than usual, but I hope you guys enjoyed seeing what I created this month. And thanks so much for watching. I'll see you guys next week.